Hey, I think we're on, Tim.
We're ready to roll. Technology.
Are we ready to roll? Hey, well, welcome to the Bassmaster Classic. My name's Gene Ellison.
Tim Horton.
Tim Horton alongside. Rick
Mr.
Clunn
Rick
is
Clunn.
with us. We're all excited to be here at the Bassmaster Classic. Timmy, your thoughts on the first part of the day?
Well, you know, it's early on the first day on Friday. This place is already packed. We're going to have a great weekend. I think one of the coolest things, though, that we're going to do right here at the Bass Pro Shops Cabela's booth is we're going to be having people like Rick Clunn. And I'm going to tell you guys, this is not something we're on a time limit that we got to be in a hurry on. I got some questions scripted here for Mr. Rick Clunn. We got Bill Dance, Roland Martin, a lot more coming up, so it's going to be really cool.
That's great. Before we get into that, we're really excited to talk with you about a brand new boat, Tim, the Nitro Z21 Elite. And let's toss it on over to our good friend Edwin Evers, who's going to give us a rundown on all of the new features on the Nitro Z21 Elite. Take it away, Edwin.
Hi, I'm Edwin, Nitro Elite B.A.S. Pro 2016. So excited to be here today to introduce the brand new, game-changing Nitro Z21 Elite with the all-new Z-Touch Command Center. It is amazing. The heart of the Z21 Elite is the Z-Touch Command Center, featuring a Lowrance HDS 16 carbon flush mounted right here in the console. Nitro and Lowrance have worked together to design a digital interface that allows you to control almost every function of the boat with a touch of a finger. This means that live wells, bilge pumps, power poles, navigation lights, vent fan, everything is controlled from this touch screen. It's even networked to the bow graph, so you have all these controls up there too. When your Mercury's running, you can even check your fuel level, RPMs, temperature, volts, and water pressure at a glance. And for your peace of mind, there's a hidden switch panel right here in the console. The all-new Z-Touch Command Center is the only place you'll find the Nitro exclusive First Fish feature. Activate it when you catch your first fish and the live well begins to fill and recirculate. By the time you've got that fish in the back of the boat, it's ready to go. There's no time wasted setting up your live well. You go right back to casting for a limit. The great thing about the Nitro Z21 Elite, it's outfitted just like I would want it outfitted to go compete in any Elite, tournament, or Bassmaster Classic. With the HDS 16 in the back, you have side imaging. It's networked up front with the HDS 12, where I've got all the same controls with the Z-Touch Command Center and the HD downscan transducer. You're ready to go. The Z21 Elite includes a top-of-the-line Minn Kota Ultrex iPilot 36-volt, 112-pound thrust trolling motor for precise positioning and smooth, powerful, and quiet trolling. On the transom, two 8-foot Blade Edition power poles lock you into place in a shallow water situation. Other features on the Z21 Elite include a hot foot throttle, pro trim lever, TH Marine culling system, automatic bilge pumps, and a 4-bank charger, and an extra trolling battery. Another great feature on the new Nitro Z21 Elite is the storage compartments in front of the console. These are great places for your keys, your wallet, maybe the baits you're using for the day. They're very handy, very accessible from the deck of the boat. On top of that, all the wires to the console are easily accessible without having to get underneath. And there it is, the new amazing Nitro Z21 Elite with a fully integrated touchscreen controlled boat. It's another industry first from Nitro. It's going to make my fishing a lot smoother, more efficient than ever before.
Taking a look.
Hey, Tim, just hang on one second. I'm going to show you some of the features of the brand new Nitro Z21 Elite. Let's start right here with the brand new Z-Touch console command center. Every single thing that you need to control on this boat, from the deployment of the rear anchors to live wells, all of your gauges are here. Some of the really neat features, I'm going to show you one of the features I really like a lot, is that we have this first fish feature for our live well. And the thing that's really neat about that, when you catch your first fish of the day, You pop that on, and what it's going to do is put double speed into that live well to fill it up with water right away. During the rest of the day, you just use your regular live well switches. But everything that you need to run every single feature on this boat, you can run while you're sitting right here in the console. Just in case we have any kind of malfunction, there's also a backup manual system here so that you can run all the features right here. In addition, we've got the fabulous Z-Core seat system. This is terrific. This is a one-piece foam structured seat that we manufacture in our own plant, and it's got a heavy-duty lumbar support systems for those heavy days when you're crashing through waves. We've also put some other nice features in your passenger side glove box. Not only can it be accessed from the front, but if you're up here working on the console and you're fishing and there's something that you need, you can access it from up here on the console as well. So you've got plenty of room and plenty of storage there. One of the features I really like is on the main console over here. Not only does this drop down for storage, so you've got a handy tray here to put storage, you can put keys and all kinds of stuff in there, but if you have any problems on the water, you just remove this and you have full, complete access to all the wiring in your boat. Just a terrific, terrific feature. And then up front, we're proud to have the Minn Kota Ultra X iPilot trolling motor. This is the state of the art. It comes with a remote control. I wear this around my neck during the day, and I can actually run my trolling motor from any part of the boat that I'm in. We've also put a easy tow touch system up here. You can deploy your trim and get it up and down. So if you're up here fishing, and all of a sudden you realize maybe I'm going to bump into something, a rock or that sort of thing, you can lift it up with a touch of your toe. One of the other features I want to show is in our new live well. We've got the TH Marine Conservation Live Well System. And if you watched this morning on Facebook Live, you would have seen Kevin Van Dam out in the water catching fish and using this brand new culling system. So if you've got a fish in one hand, your free hand comes in and unlocks one of the rings, pulls the ring off, you button up your fish, and then lock it in. And then just drop it into your live well, and you're ready to go. It's a really neat system. The Nitro Z21 Elite also comes standard with 2 power poles, 8-foot power poles. It's a fantastic package. I'm all excited to get mine, and you need to get to your local tracker dealer, get out to Bass Pro Shops, and check it out soon. So now let's throw it back to Timmy Horton. He's live on set with one of my all-time favorite anglers, Rick Clunn. So Timmy, take it away.
Hey, thank you, Gino, so much. Really appreciate it. It's amazing, Rick, how much technology has changed. And each year we see the developments in bass boats and all of these things created. And Tracker is always a step ahead of everyone. Guys, this is a treat for me. We've got Rick Clunn here in the booth. And I'm going to tell you, Rick, when I got into bass fishing in the late 80s, early 90s, this event was your event. You owned the Bassmaster Classic, and it was just, it was the neatest thing. And I watched things happen, like how Takahiro Omori won at Lake Martin a few weeks ago. The last time we were there was an FLW event, and who won it? You know, Takahiro. So we see all of these different things happening and confidence transcending. What was it about this event for you that I know all of the other anglers looked at and said, man, Rick's here, this is going to be tough? What was the confidence about this one event? Is Rick live? Let's get Rick live. Can we hear him?
Can y'all hear me?
There we go.
There we go. All right.
I'm back. But anyway, no, the confidence in the Classic, you got to kind of remember the evolution of the Classic was that back then it was a secret. Okay.
Oh, right.
I prepared myself every event of the year. I'd fished 20 events before the Classic, and I fished every one like it was a Classic. No information.
Right.
You didn't talk to anybody. And so when I got to the Classic, all the other anglers fished where they could get local information and stuff the whole year. And then they got to the Classic. In the early days, they didn't tell you where you were going until you were 30,000 feet in the air.
Wow.
And then it was couldn't call anybody. So now all those other guys that qualified were lost. I'd fished that way all year. I wasn't lost. I knew exactly what I was going to do no matter what lake it was in the country, because I studied back then all the seasonal patterns for that time of the year, which back then it was October, eventually switched to the summer. Now we're here in the early spring. So a lot of things, that's why I really dominated back then, and if they hadn't have made it public where we were going, it sounds very pompous, but I would have won about 20 of them by now. But now when we changed it, where you could get information. Now, all of a sudden, the other anglers were more prepared than they were back then.
Yeah, I think that's a great analogy. I know that's something you have always taken pride in, is the fact of, probably not so much taking pride in, but doing it yourself. That was your confidence in the fact that you were figuring it out on your own and doing that. And to me, it was just an amazing feat how winning those 4 Bassmasters Classic in such a quick amount of time, it really was cool. Now, I know, Rick, you played high school quarterback, I believe.
Yes.
Growing up, and I've heard you talk about sports and a lot of things. How did that transition? What was it about an athletic activity or whatever it may be that you could watch some of these kids transition? They got high school and college bass fishing now. What is it that transitioned from the competitive side of that, of bringing it into the sport of bass fishing?
Well, I think the one thing you see in all sports, who the champions are eventually are the ones who actually work the hardest. I know, yeah, there are sports where, yeah, nowadays you're required to run the 109 flat or dunk the ball from mid-court. But fishing, fortunately, is more of a mental game than anything. And a lot of my mental toughness did come from my high school football days. I was a quarterback, but I still have the longest touchdown pass in the history of the school, LaPorte High School in Texas.
How long was that?
95 yards, but it went to, unfortunately, it went to the wrong team. So I always go back and say, has anybody broke my record yet? I wanted them to wipe that off the deal, but no, but no, they haven't. But still, and you know that defeat, it probably became one of my biggest motivations too. That was a championship deal, and I feel like I cost us the game. And so you know how it is. We learn more from our defeats by far than we learn from our wins. My father was my first, and it amazes me because that was a long time before we had competitive fishing. But the thing that I saw with him was how hard he worked at fishing just for fun. We would wade creeks in Oklahoma, and down these creeks all day long, hunt squirrels in between, be back in the creek. At the end of the day, I was completely wore out wading down those creeks. And it amazed me, even now, how hard he fished.
Check. There we go. Hey, we're going to get this going here a little bit. I think, when I've watched, we were at the Wonders of Wildlife event this summer at the grand opening. And to me, when you walk through that building, that's about energy. That's about the emotion that's created. And you can actually feel the energy in this building today. And it's even going to be tenfold that come Sunday. And when you talk about being out in the woods squirrel hunting or being fishing with your dad for the first time, that is an emotion that, to me, Johnny Morris didn't become successful because he's so fishing lures. To me, Johnny Morris became successful in Bass Pro Shops becoming what it is because he understood that passion and that energy as it related to conservation. I know that's been a big part of your life in everything, every aspect that you do of talking about conservation. Talk about the Wonders of Wildlife a little bit and your take from that day at that grand opening.
Well, the Wonders of Wildlife is an amazing tribute to conservation. And everybody used to always ask me why Johnny builds these stores that were actually museums. And really what I learned was it was actually to honor the outdoors people. It wasn't a monument to Johnny himself. Everybody would think, well, he's just building these big museums. But it's actually, that's the first time I ever felt that fishing was really important. My dad used to always say when I was growing up, if I don't go fishing this weekend, I'm going to go crazy. And I thought that was kind of a cliche, but it really wasn't. And that not only applies to the individual, but that applies to our society. And I think Johnny realized a long, long time ago that fishing is one of our last remaining vehicles to keep people connected to that world that keeps us from going crazy, the lakes and the water and the woods. And that's what Wonders of Wildlife is really about. He starts with the Native Americans, how they cherished the land and how they were trying to be connected to the environment and how it was an integral part of the health of their societies. And fishing again is to keep humans connected, which we're constantly now being more and more disconnected from the outdoors and nature. To keep us connected, this is one of our last remaining vehicles, and that's why I'm so glad to see these high school and these college teams, because now we got more and more kids that are going out there, and yeah, they want to catch fish, but you and I both, that's the way we started. But then you start to learn the beauty of being outdoors and the nature and how good it feels and how much now we value it and we have to conserve it.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Talking about how it feels, it's an emotion that it's hard to explain. Even something as simple as watching that bobber and slowly go under as a kid. You know, I can remember that, and hearing you talk about stories about your dad and going fishing. That's that emotion. That's that surreal deal. I want to go back before we get off, and guys, we're going to be here all weekend with live interviews with legends such as Rick Clunn and some of these others. So tell your friends, Facebook Live, we're going to have some really incredible stuff, and this is the place to get it here on the Bass Pro Shops Facebook page. Rick, I want to go back to the Bassmasters Classic. Obviously, that's the event we're at here. Is there one of the four that stood out to you? I don't know what your answer is going to be, but is there one of the four that stood out to you that moved you more from, I did something right? I did not realize I made that move till I did, and I won that event. What was that moment, and which event was it?
Timmy, you know, I've been fortunate enough to win 4 of them, so that's a really difficult question because times change. And I can't say the first one wasn't important because I probably wouldn't be sitting here. You know, you've been there. We were at rock bottom. If you didn't win this tournament, you know, you didn't even know if you were going to have a bedroom to sleep in. So that one had to be important. But then the 1984 Classic comes along, and it's the first drive-in classic like this one. And the crowds, I knew then what it felt like to be a rock star, and I didn't ever understand. Their energy would lift you out of the boat every time you pulled a fish out. And then we had 2 eventual presidents of the United States standing on each side of me. And then the final one, which probably answers your question better than the other one at James River, the 4th one, my daughters finally realized that I had a real job. Because up before then, they didn't have a clue what I did for a living. They could hear it. But they were old enough by then when I won that classic, they were with me, and they were both in tears. And you've been there, you know, over time with your family at different wins. And it was really neat that all of a sudden they realized, hey, you know, maybe their dad when he left home, he did really have a job.
That's pretty cool. You know, to ask you that, and instead of it being about something you figured out, you know, your answer was about seeing that look in your daughter's eyes that you knew, hey, Dad did good today. So that's really cool. That's great stuff. Rick, I just want to thank you. I want to say one more thing before we wrap up with Rick. I know Facebook Live is huge now. A lot of the live events, technology and streaming and everything that we can do. When you won that tournament on the St. Johns River, I watch the live events when I can. I couldn't get off of it that day. I don't know that I have had something move me. I mean, I was so honored. I went around and got a bunch of guys' hats that competed in that event, autographed for you. But to me, that was how many years from when you won your first event was it till that event? How many years was it?
Oh, that was a couple of years ago, so that was my 41st year, and I won my first event in 1976. So it was pushing 40 years probably, or
So
38 at least.
Put that into perspective and take any professional sport and put that into perspective and to win an event 40 years later, because I know what level of competition this is. I know how you have to be dialed in, you have to be dialed in practice, and for you to go out and do that 40 years later, to me, was as amazing as anything I've seen, and I don't think it'll be the last. And I don't know, I thought that was incredible, and it was just moving to me. I was glued in watching live all day. I could not get off of it. And watching you catch a few of those fish, it was the same demeanor watching you catch those fish as it was as me as a kid watching in the 80s. And I just thought it was really cool. It was awesome stuff.
Well, that's the beauty of this sport is that I've always said whether you were 6 to 60, you can still participate in this sport at whatever level you want to participate at. Unlike other sports, eventually relegate you to being an armchair quarterback pretty quick. Fishing's not about that. If you have the desire and the work, You can compete at any level you want. I even waited to, I said 6 to 60. Well, I won that one at 69. So you can do it even past 60.
Yeah, that just gives me chill bumps. That's really cool stuff. Hey guys, one of the cool things you'll find about pro bass fishing, guys, if you're walking around the arena, watching on the Facebook Live, coming after the event, come up to the Bass Pro Shops Cabela's booth. We got Jeff Crete here, Wade Middleton, Rick Clunn, Roland Martin, myself. We got Bill Dance coming up here in just a bit on Facebook Live. You guys stay tuned.